Thank you for accessing this video. This video explains Chapter 9 of Tank and Reservoir from the Manual for DPHE to support POSHWA on O&M of Piped Water Supply System. This video was created based on the training material used in the training of trainers for the PICMAC DPHE Phase 2 project supported by JICA. This module covers page number is from P9-1 to P9-18. Today we will learn about points on the operation and maintenance for tank and reservoir in POSHWA piped water supply schemes. By the end of this module, you should feel confident giving technical supports to POSHWA engineers to diagnose pipeline performance, understand failures, and guide proper operation and maintenance. So let us begin by understanding what reservoir tank is, how it works, and why it is essential for safe drinking water supply. By the end of this session, you will be able to understand the basic knowledge of tank and reservoir in piped water supply systems. Recognize the risks involved in tank, reservoir O&M activities. Diagnose pipeline conditions using key parameters. Identify necessary actions and practical countermeasures for supporting POSHWAs. The session will proceed in 3 parts. Starting from providing knowledge of the basic theory, this is important because a solid understanding of the principles allows you to solve problems more easily. Then we will see what points should be confirmed for the water facility diagnosis and necessary action and countermeasures. These are the items you must check for evaluating tank and reservoir. After that, we will also look at troubleshooting and inspection, where you can utilize it as a summary of the technical points. Let's begin the basic theory. Water demand changes over time, and pump operation hours are usually limited in the POSHWA system. Therefore, reservoir tanks store water to balance supply and demand, raise the water level, and maintain adequate pressure in the pipelines. In addition, during emergencies, the tank can sustain a specified volume and pressure to ensure continued supply. There are many types of tank materials, each used differently depending on their characteristics. In the next section, we'll take a closer look at these material features and learn how they are applied. Reinforced concrete is the most common material for tank in Bangladesh. Reinforced concrete has the characteristics of being strong in compression and having a long service life. In addition, the material cost is relatively low. However, waterproofing is required to prevent deterioration. Its disadvantages are its heavy weight and the long curing time required. Steel panel tanks are not commonly used in POSHWA water supply facilities due to cost and procurement considerations. Since they are susceptible to corrosion caused by moisture, anti-corrosion coating is essential. One advantage is that being prefabricated, they can be installed in a relatively short construction period. FRP consists of a polymer matrix reinforced with fibers. The fibers can be made from a variety of materials such as glass, carbon, aramid, or basalt. FRP is rarely used in Bangladesh. Although it is lightweight, strong, and corrosion-resistant, requiring no protective coating and allowing for easy maintenance, its high material cost is a major drawback. Finally, plastic tanks are considered. As they are available as ready-made products, they can be easily installed. Being lightweight, inexpensive, and resistant to corrosion, this type of tank is widely used in both household and public applications. However, deterioration due to ultraviolet radiation and high temperatures is cited as a disadvantage. In overhead tank systems, when the tank is also used for pressure control in the pump pressurization zone, a separate distribution reservoir is usually provided. The pump operation is controlled in coordination with the water level of the overhead tank to regulate water pressure. Therefore, compared to systems used for water supply volume adjustment, the capacity of the distribution tower and elevated tank can be smaller. Here is the auxiliaries components of overhead tank. First, the ladder is provided for inspection and maintenance purposes. The inlet pipe delivers treated water from the water treatment plant into the tank, while the outlet pipe distributes water from the tank to consumers. The drain valve is used to discharge wastewater after cleaning, directing it to the drain pit. The overflow pipe safely removes excess water when the water level exceeds the limit. Finally, the lightning rod protects the structure from lightning strikes by conducting electricity safely to the ground. These auxiliary components ensure the safe, reliable, and efficient operation of the water tank. Some tanks are equipped with a water level gauge to measure the water level inside the tank. This is a common specification used in Porsche water supply facilities. As the float on the water surface inside the tank moves up and down, an indicator on the outside wall of the tank moves accordingly to display the water level. In facilities where pump on-off operation is not automated, this water level indication is used for manual operation control. For automatic pump control based on water level fluctuations, a water level sensing system is used. There are several types of water level detection methods, but systems using electrodes or floats are the most commonly adopted. From now, we will move to the confirmation points and control measure part. This section explains how to diagnose whether reservoir tank is being performed correctly in daily operation and the necessary action to be taken in case it is not performed in an appropriate manner. The distribution tank has a large storage capacity and is usually operated by a pumping station. Several pumps are connected in parallel, and the number of pumps in operation is adjusted according to hourly water demand. An elevated water tank, on the other hand, is mainly used to balance daily peak water demand. Therefore, operating water tanks and reservoirs also involves managing pumps, valves, and other related equipment. Here are the key operational points. Observing the water level of the tank. Checking pumps and valves for proper operation. Checking all vents and protect from small animals to enter, and keep in locking condition of all manholes provided for maintenance. The first confirmation point is dirtiness. Unclean conditions inside the tank can cause water quality deterioration, such as turbidity and organic contamination. Dead animals and deposits of suspended solids are often found, making regular inspection and cleaning necessary. To assess contamination inside the tank, water quality data for both inflow and outflow, as well as visual inspection results, are required as necessary data. Among the collected data, water quality data should be reviewed first. If the water quality of the outflow is worse than that of the inflow, the source of contamination is considered to be inside the tank. The condition inside the tank should be visually inspected once a month after draining the water. Turbidity of both inflow and outflow should be checked daily, while organic matter should preferably be monitored on a weekly basis. If contamination is found inside the tank, it should be cleaned using brushes or jet pumps, followed by disinfection. This series of cleaning works must be carried out once a year. The next confirmation point, leakage. Leakage from a tank not only results in water loss but also leads to wasted energy, chemicals, and labor costs associated with water treatment. In addition, deterioration can spread from leakage points, reducing the durability and sustainability of the tank. These risks can be assessed through visual inspection of the tank exterior and by reviewing information on the tank's construction materials. Leakage is assessed by visually inspecting the tank's exterior, and appropriate actions are determined based on the observed condition. Leakage on the side walls of a tank is relatively easy to identify through discoloration or staining. However, leakage at the bottom of a tank, especially for ground-level tanks, is difficult to detect because it cannot be seen from the outside. As shown in those pictures, if cracks in concrete, corrosion of steel tanks, peeling of paint, or corrosion of bolts and nuts connecting panels are observed, there is a high risk of leakage. As a countermeasure against leakage, repairs can be carried out. Cracks in concrete are filled using putty or sealing materials, followed by the application of waterproof coating. If deterioration is caused by insufficient strength of the original tank materials, it may be necessary to reconstruct the facility itself. The next confirmation point, deterioration, life expectancy. Tank deterioration can lead not only to leakage but also to the potential collapse of the tank structure. To assess the degree of deterioration, the required information includes the year of tank construction and the condition of deterioration on both the internal and external surfaces of the tank. The year of construction should be checked to confirm whether the tank is still within its service life. The service life varies depending on the tank material and also on the manufacturing quality of the country of origin. Therefore, it is necessary to make a judgment by referring to national standards and manufacturer specifications. In concrete tanks, corroded reinforcing bars may become exposed, or rust may seep through to the exterior surface. This indicates that the reinforced concrete has deteriorated and its structural strength has been reduced. For steel tanks, the presence of corrosion should be checked. Rust not only causes leakage and loss of structural strength, but internal corrosion can also lead to deterioration of water quality. For FRP tanks, it is necessary to check for deterioration caused by ultraviolet exposure. When UV radiation causes the material to harden, the fibers of the material may become exposed, as shown in the photo. This indicates a reduction in structural strength. In addition, corrosion of the bolts and nuts connecting the panels can lead to leakage and deterioration of water quality. As a countermeasure against structural deterioration, reconstruction is required if the structure has exceeded its service life. If the deterioration is minor, or if the service life has not been exceeded but partial deterioration is observed, repair work is necessary. Here, the repair method for an RC tank is described. For corroded and exposed reinforcing bars, the surrounding concrete is first chipped away, and the rust is removed using a wire brush or similar tools. Next, an anti-corrosion agent is applied to the reinforcing bars, which are then covered with mortar or high-strength concrete. Finally, a waterproof coating is applied. This explains the repair method for steel tanks. Rust on the surface of the tank material is removed using specialized tools, after which an anti-corrosion coating is applied. For FRP tanks, corroded bolts and nuts are replaced with resin-made or anti-corrosion types. If the sealing material at the joints has deteriorated, sealing tape is applied over it to complete the repair. The next confirmation point, overflow prevention. When water overflows from a tank, it can cause losses in production costs, deterioration of the structure, and disruptions to water supply. To diagnose overflow issues, it is necessary to review water level management data as well as maintenance and operation data for equipment such as water level sensors. For devices used for water level control, such as ball taps and water level sensors, it is necessary to confirm that they are operating properly and responding correctly to abnormal water level fluctuations. In addition, the drainage pipe should be operated to check that there are no blockages from debris or foreign objects and that drainage is functioning properly. If any abnormalities are identified, the following countermeasures can be considered. Regular functional checks of water level control devices and drainage systems. Periodic cleaning. Equipment renewal to maintain functionality. Establishment of emergency response procedures for overflow events. Securing drainage routes in the event of overflow. Now, we go on the troubleshooting and inspection. Even with proper understanding of reservoir tank, problems will occur in daily operation. This table shows how to use all the knowledge explained earlier when an actual problem appears in reservoir tank. Up to this point, important points of the reservoir tank was explained separately, together with basic theory and confirmation points and control measures. And these points are converted in one table of troubleshooting, so that you can identify what caused the problem and the necessary actions to taken from the phenomenon you observed in reservoir tank. How to read the table? This table is utilized when you see some specific phenomenon, so, first, check the phenomenon column to see what phenomenon is identified as a problem. Then consider the possible causes. Understand the risk if the problem continues. Finally, select the correct countermeasure. For example, if you observe long time consuming for water filling, it could be caused by open drain valve of leakage. And the troubleshooting table guides you for the necessary action to take. In this case, you have to check drain valve condition or fix the leakage. This is how what we learned in the confirmation points and necessary actions can be quickly applied by referring to troubleshooting table. This is an inspection sheet introduced in the manual. An inspection sheet shows what data should be recorded routinely for the purpose of appropriate operation and maintenance. Each item listed here corresponds directly to the confirmation points explained earlier. By checking these regularly, you can detect abnormalities before they become serious or identify the problem caused and will contribute to take quick actions for countermeasures. This is the end of the video. Thank you for watching and I hope this video will help you understand the manual better.